there is a hostile takeover of the brain. And obviously we have a squirt of all kinds of things like epinephrine and norepinephrine, the steroid hormone, cortisol, all kinds of stuff changing in the body. The heart rate, the blood pressure. We get stronger, physically stronger, up to a point, and then anybody that has, you ever go rock climbing and get yourself too scared and suddenly you can't climb anymore? Beyond a certain level, it turns out to have the law of diminishing return, doesn't it? We lose power. We lose our ability to perform. A dancer going up on stage, dressed like a ballet dancer, too scared, not a ballet dancer, right? We need to have our stress level low enough that we can perform, not just physically, but intellectually as well, to be able to conjure things that we've learned in a lower arousal state. You ever hear of state-specific learning? It's very real. Yeah, so if you learn in a lower arousal state and you take the test at twice that heart rate, you're not in the same room in the house. You're not going to be remembering things, which is why I have a problem with scared parachutists not pulling their handles when they need to. I do my best to save all of them, but the truth is I can't. Because these brain structures override my teaching. They say attack, retreat, or hide. That's it. That's all you got for your solution set once you get your heart rate and blood pressure and everything up to this level. The interesting part for me is that we start to see significant changes in brain activity also. It's not just the changing in the basic physiology, but you look at a PET scan, positron emission tomography, that kind of stuff, you can see what's going on in somebody's head, more or less. You can see the brain structures that are activated and the ones that are deactivated. And we start to see dramatic shifting in the balance of power. Right to left half. One way to describe the right and left hemispheres in terms of activity is intellect and emotion. Logic on one side, gut on the other. And of course, if we get too much adrenaline, we start to see less activity on the left side of the brain, particularly in the left prefrontal cortex. We need that part of our brain to be who we really want to be, I think. That's interesting. And I've been thinking about it. Why would we lose our ability to think logically when we get into serious danger? Maybe my logic presents too many barriers to my action. Maybe it makes me second guess myself. I can't kill a bear. I'm just this little guy. And this thing says, maybe you can. It takes away the logic. The problem is, sometimes we need a little logic. We also see, oh, there we go. This is an actual, so you know I'm not making this up in Microsoft Paint. So you can actually see the shifting in the balance of power over to the right side of the brain. We also see less activity in the front part of the brain, where we have decision making. Too much adrenaline, and we aren't so good at surveying the scene carefully, thinking it through. Right? You ever see somebody arrives at a car accident? Cars start to burn, people start running around, the voices get higher, and they go faster and faster and faster, and nobody's thinking carefully. Nobody is actually deciding what the right thing to do until one person comes up and goes, all right, everybody be quiet, here's what we're going to do. I need you to call 911. You have a cell phone? Yes, that's your job. You come with me, we're going to get the kid out of the car. Right? The person that speaks quietest and clearly, calmly, keeps their heart rate down is the one that allows their brain to still be what it could be. Willed action. So the paralyzing effects of fear, the freeze stuff, may have something to do with this as well. The left prefrontal cortex getting deactivated. We lose our ability to act when we need to act. And of course, epiphany, the outside the box, aha kind of thing, comes from the front part of the brain that isn't working so well because there's too much juice. And interestingly, our ability to regulate emotion is robbed when we have all this emotion. That's a problem. So why minimize fear? Well, I would have to say it's because adrenaline is inversely proportional to higher intelligence, higher cognitive functioning. Arousal makes us a little bit stupid. and we revert back to old coping mechanisms. We become this fella. I would say, though, that we've evolved beyond that. We have the capability of demonstrating more than just attack, retreat, and hide. We also have the possibility of using our intellect to de-escalate the situation so that we can use our new instincts, our new coping mechanisms, access our knowledge to be more than just a Cro-Magnon. So in that case, we'd have to say we have more than just attack, retreat. We can consider conscious advance towards empowered advance. If you use the emotion, that can be a good thing. Empowered retreat. You know where you're going and why you're going instead of just running like a lunatic. Right? You see the soccer games where there's a big stampede because the wrong team lost and people get stepped on and killed. Right? Unconscious retreat. Humans are a very dangerous animal once we get into that red zone. But we also have to consider the possibility that when we're in the freeze state, we have the ability to soften, slow down, and appraise the situation from a big picture. Alter the state of affairs. Alter the way the situation evolves. To wake up. I can't say that I don't get scared when I jump out of airplanes. That would be lying. But I do notice that I'm scared earlier than many people. And I do something about it. I wake up to it. And of course, we're going to, as we continue on, some of the coping mechanisms that have been very effective for me, and they're grounded in some pretty reasonable ideas. So the process of de-escalating. And of course, when we de-escalate ourselves, we can de-escalate situations as well. We have to address it first physically, and then cognitively. You ever hear of this fella? Learn him. James rocks. One of the most brilliant thinkers of our time. What he had to say about emotion was kind of groundbreaking. It's pivotal, and it changed the way that I look at my own emotional experience. It is his belief, or was, he's long since dead, that the mind's interpretation of the body's state of arousal is inseparable from the experience of emotion. So in other words, there's a bottom-up hierarchy. When we get to the higher levels of juice, our intellect cannot cool us down anymore. Think about it. When you're freaked out about something, and I'm sure there's lots of reasons to be freaked out when you're a med student. Just thinking about the student loans gets my panties in a bunch. I cannot say to myself, Brian, just calm down. It's no big deal. Or if I address the problem and I think about the problem and I look at, maybe if I can look at it from a different angle, if I can study hard enough or whatever, maybe it doesn't seem to work. That I have to address it in a bottom-up manner until I slow my body down. Until I actually control my physical response. I cannot get my brain working again. In other words, even when you don't feel it, act calm. You're sitting in an airplane, you're about to jump out, don't fidget. You're making it worse. Don't tap your knee, don't look all around. Relax, lean back against the person behind you and soften your muscles. Don't give the energy any place to go. James, as far as I'm concerned, was right on the money. Well, wait a minute. So you're saying that if I'm running from a bear that's chasing me, I'm scared because I'm running? And you're saying basically yes. That is precisely what I'm saying. Is that if you don't use the energy, the body sends messages to the brain. And so as a result of the climate of the body, the thoughts that occur to us because of this different mood, if you will, are different. Our solution set is different. We get tunnel vision when we get scared, when we get into negative thinking, into paranoia thinking. We only see the problem. And of course, we don't solve problems by focusing on the problem indefinitely. We examine the problem and then we create a solution. You're worried about the test? Study. Right? But first calm yourself down so that your brain is working enough that you can study. step one, dealing with adrenaline, dealing with fear, is always to relax the body. It has to be. Otherwise, you're just throwing rocks at a tornado.